1 second. I'm still using the live streaming here. Set up. So I want to do a flip through all the prototype proof books that I've got. I've got the first one of each of my book collections. So we're going to start out with the Outlaws, Musicians and Drunken Poets, go through Power, Love, Success, On the Luck, and Desperados and Noir. So yeah, I'm going to be showing you guys these things, and I'll be posting the recording of this a little later, so if you didn't catch it, you catch it later, and also recording it on my camera, which should have a little bit higher resolution. So feel free to shoot questions over, and we'll try to answer those probably after the video stream. It's going to be hard for me to do those both at the same time. So, all right, let's get to it. All right, so Outlaws, Musicians, and Drunken Poets. So this book covers work from roughly 2007 to 2012. And it's when I started doing the Wild West Outlaw themed paintings. Before that, I was doing a lot of fantasy work and different things, and decided I wanted to do something completely different. So a lot of these were inspired by historical characters. I Don't Shake Hands was inspired by Doc Holliday, He Who Hesitates, Calamity Jane, etc. So I'll try to breeze through this a little bit. This is a Dead Man's Hand. So part of the proof book process is seeing how things actually look. So like, for instance, on this, I really don't want his face in the center in the gutter here. So I'm probably going to change and shift it over some way so you see more of what's going on. And something that's not important might be in this area. So also I'm looking for color accuracy, seeing how the design layout looks. Like this might shrink down a little bit so it's not falling into this gutter area. God forgives, I don't. So I'm trying to keep the images as big as possible with lots of double page spreads, pardon me. Shootout. This is one of my Drunken Poets, Charles Bukowski. Johnny Cash. Neil Young. Again, I'll probably change this layout a little bit. John Lee Hooker and Bob Dylan, Jimi Hendrix and Tom Waits, Frank Zappa, Led Zeppelin. And I'll have a couple of pages similar to this probably that show sort of the step-by-step process of making the paintings, along with what the finished product looks like. This is from my Mobster series, which is going to be included in this book, hopefully, even though it's not in the title. The one thing that's not in this book as well is all my pirate paintings, which I'm probably going to add into it. So this book is going to grow in length. Some of that's depending on cost and some other production things, but I want to really put a lot into this book. This is Pancho Villa. Again, I'll probably do some shifting around here to make sure that isn't centered right there. It's Bar Fight. It's my friend Bill Jack Daniels I went to high school with, posted for that one. Shout out to Bill. Buffalo Soldiers. So a lot of these were historically influenced. So like Buffalo Soldiers and Wild Bunch were really based on some photographs I had found that I had turned into paintings. Double page spread of that one. It's Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid over here. And some Civil War references where a lot of this started, a lot of the historical references started. So some other things. And then some early day stuff, me and the beach, some of my artwork in my studio when I started doing a lot of these paintings. So. All right, so that's the first book. Second book is Power, Love, and Success. This one has also been funded through the Kickstarter. And I started these in 2012 as I started getting into the UK and some distribution there. And I started putting, in this book I've started populating it with some of my quotes as well. If you follow me on Facebook, I like to run my mouth on there and say a bunch of weird stuff. So putting that in there. And I'm also doing some things on Facebook and Instagram and asking for fan quotes that I might use in the book. And if I happen to use one of them, I'll be offering a free book, free signed book in return. Again, this is the first prototype, so some of the layout may change. There's a few images I still need to get proper scans of. This collection is probably one of the collections I have not as many paintings for. Part of that is because I was so busy sending things to the UK, I didn't get a lot of scans of some of that work, so I might be reaching out to some collectors to see if I can get that to happen. I might be doing some new paintings that go into this book just for this, depending on the feedback I'm getting. Some sketches and oil studies. More drawings. All right, so that's where I'm at with this book. The book that just got funded on the first day on a stretch goal is Luck. This was about 2013, the work I did here, and was premiered through a show in Las Vegas with Distinction Gallery at the time. And this is sort of a version of a blur book we did during that show, so this is going to change quite a bit. I got a lot more images to add to this. I'm going to change the quotes up around probably. I'm going to make the images a lot larger. So you'll see more like these images I might make larger on this page and vice versa. Expand that one out a bit. Probably going to change this layout so you see more of this car. I think there's something way more interesting than this version of the close-up on it. Again, I'm going to make this image larger, maybe show the study oil a little bit larger as well. I got more drawings. I might include some more drawings into this book. There's my jiu-jitsu professor, Professor Orlando Sanchez, right here. When I first started training jiu-jitsu, so he'll be in this book. So everybody who's into that sort of thing, follow along with that. I have some more billiards paintings too. I'm probably gonna do a couple of new paintings just for this book. It's kind of a funny little sketch here. Again, making these larger, making the images larger. There's a whole through story to this series of work too. So all these characters are somewhat related, and it's kind of it's not really a hidden story, but there is a through story to it. I'll go into that another time. For all my friends who are fans of Chet Zar, this is a painting I did of him. Check out his work too. He's a fantastic artist. There we go. There's Luck. The next book we're working on for funding goals is the Desperado series, which I started around 2014. Some of you might be familiar with a lot of my time lapses, which I've been posting lately. Fortunately, I don't have a whole lot of time lapses from this. I just, for some reason, didn't make them, mostly because making time lapses can be kind of time consuming, and sometimes you just want to get to work on a painting rather than setting up cameras and setting apertures and that kind of thing. So this book is going to change a lot too as far as like layout. So I've already redesigned this to have these images larger on this side and vice versa, and so you get a lot bigger pictures. Same with this. So what I might order a new proof book and flip through that at another time, in the near future, just to show you how things are changing. There's a lot of images that aren't in this book yet as well, so I'll be figuring out how to add those in here. I keep finding more paintings I forgot I made. That's one of the things about doing this project is kind of makes me realize how many paintings I've been doing over the last 10 years. I don't even know where I found the time to do it. It's nuts. But yeah, this is one of my favorites. This is my friend Kurt who posts for this. He posts for all four characters in this painting, actually. Again, these images will be larger. Design's a little bit different. I also went back and made sure all the color profiles are correct for output. That's part of the reason I'm doing this book as well, is making sure that I have my images profiled correctly, that the colors are right, so as accurate as possible. And there's where we're at with the Desperados book. So there's that prototype. All right, and the last book that I'm wanting to put out is Noir. Started this in 2016, 15, 16, somewhere in there. And this was inspired by a Johnny Cash song called "God's Gonna Cut You Down." So there's several characters that he names in that song. One's called the Backbiter. It's a close up of that painting. One's called the Gambler. Right there. The Midnight Rider. So the lyrics of the song say, "Go tell that long-tongued liar, go tell that midnight rider, tell the rambler, the gambler, the backbiter, tell him that God's gonna cut him down." The song's pretty cool. So I made these paintings kind of revolving around the idea, kind of the pictures that painted in my head. Almost like an LA Confidential sort of scene, maybe. I don't know. And here's the Rambler character right here. Let It Roll Out. It's one of my favorite paintings from that series. I use it on the cover of this book. There's at least one painting I need to get from a collector to scan as well for this, called The Long-Tongued Liar. It's like a really cool painting, and he knows who he is. I'll get a hold of him soon. It's like a Bonnie and Clyde sort of idea. These paintings I was doing when I was sort of trying to figure out where I was going to go with the collection. Like, I wasn't quite sure what the production style was going to be. If I really wanted it to be more black and white, or I wanted it to be more Pulp Fiction-ish. So that's for that. But I really like those paintings. It's another one of the Gambler characters. And did a Muhammad Ali painting. Might do a bigger version of that over here. Something will go right there. Not sure yet. Close up of that. An Indestructible Mike. If you get a chance, look up Indestructible Mike. It's quite the fascinating story. Won't go into it here. It's a little bit long, but all right. And then ended up with another painting of Johnny Cash, since the book, well, not just the book, but the series was kind of inspired, started off as a jumping off point for the series, so we go with that. Might have to redo this layout so I don't have his face in the gutter here. I'll figure that out too. So, alright. Alright, and there you have it. So, go back to that. So yeah, want to thank everybody for the huge amount of support so far. We reached, like I said yesterday, we reached our first goal within 45 minutes to fund the first 2 books. We reached the 3rd book funding within 16 hours, about midnight last night, and we're well on our way to getting Desperados funded. And I'm pretty confident it's going to happen. So I really appreciate you guys, and really want to get these books out to you. And the more money we raise to fund these, the more I can really put into, making them better. I have ideas about making it into a box set possibly, and doing fancy things with covers. I have a meeting with a local book publisher on Tuesday. We're going to discuss some options, and one of the things I'm really wanting to do is keep some of this production or all of it here in the United States. I'd really like to work with a local manufacturer. I've been talking to a number of publishers recently that have, because of the funding with the Kickstarter, has gotten a lot of attention. So with your continued support, we're going to really, I think, knock this out of the park, and it's going to be really something exciting. So again, this is kind of like a dream come true for me. So yeah, thanks guys. And all right, well, we'll see you soon.